Before we get to this amazing interview, I'd like to take a moment to say that this epic chat you're about to hear wouldn't be possible without the collaborative efforts with the amazing people at Geek Network. Geek Network is a multimedia suite of all things nerdy, and you should check out geek-network.com to get your fix. But remember, always geek responsibly. All right, buzz, everybody. It's your boy Blake, and I am here with, you know what? I'm here with one of the most popular creative teams in comic books. Like right now in the last couple of years, guys, I'm here with Martin Simmonds and James Tynion the fourth. Oh my goodness. Can you like, I have just leveled up in my podcasting career. It's insane. I've been thinking, guys, they give you 15 minutes, right? To talk to your idols, to talk to your heroes, to talk to these like amazing creators, you know. It's like, what do you say to two titans of the industry in 15 minutes, you know? And that's the question, right? That's you guys should be interviewing me. The table should be.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, of course I'm kidding. But you guys have a new comic book coming out. It's a new comic book by a timeless character, Dracula, timeless and immortal, and just refuses to die. And God love him. I'm sure the phrase, right? But I'm so glad that he hangs around, and it's so cool to see you two pick him up. I don't know. You guys may not see it because you're both you, but there's a magic that happens when you guys get together on the page, right? There's like the Martin, you do this like multimodal textured crazy art, and James, you have these like creepy hand around your neck tense scripts, right? And when the powers combined, it really makes something special, and I'm getting that full blast in Dracula. It's a perfect first issue. Now, you guys have been doing this for a little bit now, right? And you did the Department of Truth and all that. Was there ever a moment like when Department of Truth was but a whisper on the lips of a conspiracy theorist's face? Like, was there ever a time when you guys were like, I'm not sure about this guy, I don't know if it's going to work? Like, were you guys ever hesitant to work together?
Never, not from my point of view. It's been pretty seamless, actually, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, that's been honestly, the only moment it was before we spoke for the first time, because, you know, Martin and I hadn't met as like in person before really we started working on this book, or before we started talking about it, and so there was this, you know, like when I had started this was Department of Truth was my first Image book. And it was the first time that I had put together like the whole creative team and all of that. I'd reached out to somebody, I'd like looped them in, I had like, you know, and so it was just like, I knew like that I liked Martin's work, and I especially saw like a specific it was a series of Inktober sketches that he did, and I reached out and was just like, do you have any interest in your work moving in this direction and away from the direction that he had been working? So that was the moment that I was worried about, because I was worried that someone would be like, no, you asshole, don't reach out to me about like, you know, that's not what my work looks like. Don't tell me you want my work to look like something different. That was the only, but it's like, we didn't know each other at that point and all of that. So I had no idea what the reaction would be. But from that moment on, and thankfully, like Martin's answer was yes, he would like to work in that style. You know, we met up when I had a trip to London, and then we just started working on the project. And once we were in the flow of the thing, it's been seamless ever since.
Nice.
Issue 3 was, and Department of Truth was that moment, I think, where we hit our stride, I think, really. I mean, it was great before, but that was just the moment where it just seemed to really fall into place.
I thought the truth was coming out. I thought he was about to be like, issue 3. I wasn't sure about you, James. 1 and 2. But that third issue.
Not at all.
No, we found a special synergy. Like, because I mean, it's just like each issue was a kind of discovery process. Like the first one, because like I didn't know how, like I had a sense of how it would look, but it's like the first issue was written in, you know, kind of like not knowing what the art would look like. And then the second issue, like introduced the Starface Man. And then it was just like that blew up the possibilities. And then we were in sync. Like from that moment on, where it was just like okay, if like, if I throw this at Martin, he's going to throw back something that I can't even imagine how good it's going to be. And then it's just like, and now, and taking like, a 20 issues of like collaboration, and then being able to then like that we've honed and built like, a close bond and friendship, and then being able to take on such an iconic character like Dracula is such a dream.
I bet. And also I love what you guys are doing with Dracula, but like it's been a hot minute since like my stomach has turned like reading a comic book in like an efficient way. And watching Renfield eat insects throughout this, oh my goodness. And it's gnarly, and it's a crazy visceral experience, and it just really, like I said, adds the wonderful tension, the pacing, the structure, everything that you guys have thrown into this first issue. It was, I mean, you're batting 1,000. It's like right out of the gate. Like this isn't there's no third issue thing going on here, guys. Like this first issue is just, it's singing everything wonderful about vampirism, and like the mythos and the history and the respect to the creators that came before you is all, it's so wonderfully there. And I feel so privileged to get to read it early, right? Because I'm just like, oh, is that good? There's a splash page, and I think you guys probably know where I'm going with this. It's after a feeding, and there's a big splash page. When I said like you guys get the history and the mythos and all that, like everything that was past, you guys bring to the present. That all happens in that 2-page spread. It is insane. Martin, how much direction did James is he very fluent in his scripts, or when you guys have worked together?
I think you'd written it as a double page, hadn't you? And you'd just separate it up into separate panels. But as always with all that stuff, we still play around with that, and that's not kind of set in stone. So we still, some panels are merged, things like that. But when you have a double page spread like that, and it's like a transitional thing of all these things going on and changing to the wolf or changing back from the wolf, it kind of like, that begs to be something like one image where it kind of spreads. I mean, it's still paneled, but you can't see the panel borders basically. So it's still following James's instruction, but it's kind of like done as one whole kind of merging image basically. So I mean, I think we're on the same page with it as far as I'm aware. I think so anyway. But yeah, that was a challenge. That was a challenge. There's a lot of content in that double page spread.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, no, James's scripts are always incredibly inspiring with what he puts into it. They're always wonderful, and so it just sparks something every time. They always spark something. And that's why you work with somebody. That's how you. And this is the thing. If we had started this, I'd love to, in a way, know what Dracula would have been like if this was the first project we would have been on. And I'm sure it would have been a very, very different beast to what it is now. And I think that's the advantage of how much we work together now, and how much we're kind of like, we're kind of tuned into the same wavelength. And that double page spread is probably a fine example of it.
Yeah. Nice, James. What did you think when you saw that?
I mean, I lost my mind. I just absolutely lost my mind. It isn't that page, because it's just like, but it's the next page in it is, it's just like, I emailed Martin after he turned that page, and it's just like, I want to get that page from you. And I just picked it up this weekend. It's sitting in the room with me. I'm very happy. But I mean, it's just like, this is the joy. I love seeing how Martin solves these creative problems, like, and it's just, the thing that drives me more than anything else as a comic book writer is I love comic book art. I absolutely adore it. And I just I love working with collaborators who just constantly surprise me. And it's just like, Martin, we've been working together now for 4 years now, about, like, because we would have started, it would have been 2019 that we started throwing things back and forth, fall of 2019, and then started in earnest in 2020. That's when we launched. You build these shorthands, and then beyond that, it's just like, at a certain point, as a writer, you just sort of relinquish a certain level of control, because you just know that you're operating on the same wavelength, and my job is to get out of Martin's way and give him enough to work with that he can do some of his best work. But the only reason to do a book like Dracula is to, be a showcase, like for Martin's work. Otherwise, it's just like it would be a radically different book with any other collaborator, and it's just like, and probably not a iteration that I would want to do.
I couldn't imagine it after reading that issue. I couldn't imagine it any other way. Because both of you have such strengths, right? But if it was a different writer or if it was a different artist, it would be something totally different. Like I said, there's a magic. There's you both get together and bring a very special thing to the comic book page. And we're all very lucky to have you both working together. I know you guys have a very busy day, and so I'm gonna leave you with an easy one. Right, it's spooky season, right? Everybody's looking for those scary movies to watch. We're talking about vampires. Hit me with the sauce, guys. What's your favorite vampire flick we should watch for the spooky season?
Oh boy, that's such a good question. I'm gonna have to go Near Dark, which is like one of my all-time favorites. And honestly, I think the bar scene in Near Dark is the best vampire scene in any movie. And I think Paxton Severin is like the coolest movie vampire. Back when my buddy Scott Snyder was working on American Vampire, we would just like talk about that scene and that vibe, because you can see it, like you can see that movie is deep in the DNA of American Vampire. Yeah. So it's just like, it's a very different vibe of vampire than this type of story we're doing, but there's something visceral and scary about it that I think should be in any vampire story. I like the romance of vampires. I love those types of stories. I also grew up on Anne Rice books and all of that. I love the new TV show, but there's something about that bar scene that's just like burned into my mind forever.
Nice.
Well, there's two. It's going to be a bit quicker than James's answer, but Let Me In, I think. Yeah. It's a wonderful film. Okay. Love that film. And I'm going to have to go Bram Stoker's Dracula still. Visually, that film is just incredible.
Yeah.
And that there's probably plenty of things that people may not like about it, but I mean, Chinese accent for a start. But the visuals in that are just incredible. I just love it. And that's something that has inspired me with this book as well, without question. The hardest thing with it is getting away from Tom Waits' version of Renfield, because it's just that's like so iconic to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's an incredible performance. The main takeaway from that film for me would be the visuals of it. It's just beautiful looking.
It is. It's still beautiful. It still holds up. Like it reminds me of like Blade Runner. Like Blade Runner is still a beautiful film. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's not about my son dangling his head in front of the camera.
No worries. Like that's the next great comic book artist dangling there. Like we have him on the show. Guys, I thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to talk to me. And I wish you both, not that you need any more of it, but I wish you the absolute best success on this launch. I hope you get all the good reviews. I'm excited to see what the other 3 issues unfold and what terror delights they bring. I'm excited. You got me stoked for vampires and for Dracula, like all over again. And congratulations to you both. And again, thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.